Oh man, we're getting to that point. Did you watch the first video? Did you watch the second video? I'm actually having a lot of fun with this. For years, I've thought really hard and fast about, is the advice I'm giving the same advice that I would give if I started my MSP this year? And I'm finding that, yeah, they're kind of starting to meet in the middle. And I hope you noticed that in the last video, that it is possible to do this strictly through managed service agreements, right? An all-you-can-eat type of plan. You don't need to go out there and sell your soul for all of those hours that you don't have and then never have time to find new clients. So I hope this is having value for you. And you beautiful souls, thank you so much for joining me on this 3-part series. Again, comments really help. They make me feel reinvigorated. They make me feel like I'm making a difference. They make me feel like I'm teaching you something. Right? This is why I like to do webinars and crowdcasts so often, because I get that direct feedback. So if you're liking the YouTube stuff, make sure to encourage me, right? Give me the pat on the back. But beyond my own stuff, I know this has been long. I know it's been tedious. I know you may have been confused in some parts, and hopefully that last video really helped reaffirm some of my ideas. Show you even a different approach to some of the problems that you wouldn't have taken before. Now, with things like inflation, cybersecurity, compliance, all of this crap that's going on, I know for a lot of you that have MSPs, right, there's a lot of questions on how can I conform more to this model? Now, it's not too late to do the plan that I'm gonna show you today, because for a lot of you, you do have staff and you just really start to figure out, how do I bring in consistent clients? I'm sure there's at least one of you going, Kyle, even today with my 1 million in ARR or whatever, I would bring clients on for $500 a month if I could find them. So getting all of this going, the key is not to start until we have that first client. If we are right in the tier of starting a new MSP, which is what I'm doing right now. But for those of you today, we're gonna go ahead and get this video started, and I'm gonna show you exactly how I would do it. So show me some thoughts, show me some love, roll the intro.
Here we go.
All right, this is it, guys. We're at the end of our series, and this has been a lot of fun. And to keep us on track, here is what this video will look like. I'm gonna quickly recap the strategies we finalized in the last video to prepare ourselves for what we're gonna go on to next. I wanna review some sales KPIs that will guarantee we get at least one client a month. Then I'm gonna build a schedule that will keep us accountable to our goal so that we don't deviate too far off course when we see something shiny. And talk about some operation projects that we can tackle to keep maturing us as we grow and make sure we're not just 100% sales driven. So to kick us off, the last video, we dove deep into building a solid business plan. We concluded that with our savings, we would have to net $500 or more per client per month to be a success. Now, to keep in mind, this is a minimum. We did discover we can go as high as $750 a month to drastically change the cash flow in our own pockets as an owner, or spend to more resources. Also, when we are ready, we can go beyond 10 users, allowing us to get into the $1,000 plus MRR range. And that's really the goal in year one. Get confident in selling your services and have a big enough team to where, right, we can start to jive a little bit. Now with that, we settled on having one offshore resource to start in May, and possibly another escalation resource coming around November. And while the first year we would not be so lucrative in terms of a business owner, it would guarantee us at least $100,000 in ARR to start off 2025 with optimism, clarity, and an owner who could breathe a little. This would also start 2020 off with plenty of help desk capacity to work to that goal of bringing on someone local, right? And that's gonna be a big goal in that year too. So with that review out of the way, we need to figure out the how. And if there's one thing I can relay to all of you watching, it is that your most precious resources as a business owner will be your time. As much as we love tech, we will need to focus on new clients more than those shiny help desk tickets. And anything we can do to offload those help desk tickets is what we've built in the business plan. If we rewind back to the last video, we discovered almost 90,000 small businesses with 10 employees or less in the San Diego area. This took nothing more than a couple Google searches. So I have to be able to identify a small subset that I'm going to tackle each day. So to kick off each day, we need to simply find a set of customers we think would be a good fit, right? And things like LinkedIn Sales Navigator, they're costly, but it's a good tool to utilize and find these companies. But again, we only have $25,000. And so what I'm probably gonna do is just use something like the Yellow Pages, right? If you go to your local chamber's website, all of the businesses that support them are on that page. Google Maps, just like we found our MSP competitors, right? I can go in there to find all those local small businesses. The internet's a wild place. Use it to your advantage, guys. I know you know Google Foo. And here's one important thing. If you don't learn anything from any of my videos other than this, do not worry about the number of employees in the beginning. You are gonna feel so awkward in the beginning that you just need to get your reps in. So treat them all like potential leads, so you're always having your best foot forward, you're building your confidence, you're building that muscle memory, right? We go back to my video on resilience, right? We can then see that we're decreasing those cortisol levels when I pick up the phone or walk into a new prospect's office. Well, now what we'll also want to figure out is what you're gonna say when you walk in or you call that customer. Now, I wouldn't overthink this. You can use ChatGPT. Here's a script that you can use immediately. And it's gonna be a little awkward, so I'm gonna read it just like I would call a customer. Hey there. We haven't met before, and I was hoping you could help me with a problem. My name's Kyle Christensen, and we're from Spaceballs, the MSP. We're a young and talented new IT service provider in San Diego. And I know you don't like sales calls, and I know that your time is valuable. But when we're looking for small local businesses to be part of a limited release that we're making, this will include aggressive discounts that no one else in the industry can beat. Would you happen to know any businesses that are looking for great IT services at a record low price? Now, yeah, that's a little awkward to say, right? And I even tripped over it a few times in recording this video. But what's important is to be consistent. Get all of those preconceived grossness feelings out of you, right? You're gonna have to do this a lot in starting your MSP, and I am as well. So I'm gonna try this, and every morning I'm gonna refine my script. I'm gonna take some notes, right? I'm gonna have spreadsheets galore when it comes to this to make sure that I make notes of, wow, this one script, I was 5 for 5. This other script, I was 1 for 5. That way you can tweak as you go. And when you do bring on your first sales rep, you've already got all of this documented. That'll be the cool part. And there are so many strategies, by the way, on what to say. Just try one each day, make notes, don't overthink this, have ChatGPT make you a few. Don't think about it too hard, and don't sit there and over-research this. The goal of each call would be simply to schedule an appointment, right? Respect the time of who you're calling because it's probably inconvenient. And discuss with them that you're so shiny new that your pricing is to get your company rolling. People love to help others, and businesses love to save money. So you guys are living in harmony, especially when they're under 10 users. Now, my goal is simply to land 1 new client per month, as we've seen. So I don't have to be so desperate in my call. And if they're not interested, remember, they're just not interested right now. So I'm gonna make sure to log who I spoke with, when I called them, and any reasons they gave me. I'm gonna call this list back every 3 months. And eventually I'm gonna convert 1 extra. And you're gonna do this time and time again, that you'll eventually get tired, you're gonna get worn out, and you might even book some calls to meet them in person. But we also have a client we need to pay attention to. So what we need to realize is that we need a budget of time. It's important that we're always spending that 50% on business development. So I've made us a little chart. And what this does is it takes our annual sales goal by our average revenue per account and outlines how many calls, meetings, opportunities, and proposals, right, our sales funnel, that we need to close a quota of 1 client per month. Now, part of our strategy at $500 a month is to capture buyers who simply need IT but don't have a large budget. This will change as you grow, but we do not have the time to build a business and refine sales strategy to handle too many objections, right? Our price, packaging, and is almost guaranteed only really 2 objections. 1, we're in contract with another IT provider. And the tip here is ask them when the contract is up and if it'd be okay for you to call them back a month before it renews, and then go add it in your calendar, right? That's a real good one. And the only other objection is going to be, this sounds too good to be true, or your company sounds too immature. And for this one, you'll have to get creative on how to respond honestly. Something confident like, Mr. Client, all businesses start somewhere. If you don't mind me asking, how did you go about getting your first clients? Now, hopefully this creates dialogue that allows the customer or prospect to lean in and be curious and tell you all about how their business got started. And that's going to be important for building a relationship where you are going to start building trust. So in looking at this chart, I want to be conservative because these conversion ratios are very low, right? I'm a young entrepreneur. I haven't done this before, right? I got a little bit of Kyle's brain in here, but I just want to go for no one knows the business name, therefore they may not trust it. And if I follow this, by the way, there's a good chance I'm going to land more than one client. So if I say about a 5% conversion ratio, right? What does that mean? That for every phone call I make, only 5% of them are going to agree to have a meeting to discuss their business. So that means roughly I'm going to have to make 105 phone calls a week. What that further says is that in that 32% of those meetings will result in the next step, meaning further conversations. You found out you have a good relationship, maybe some type of assessment or some type of a discovery with another decision maker. And then of those, only one of those is really ready for you to engage, right? Is saying, hey, give us a proposal. Let's go ahead and get this done. Realistically, even at 2 proposals a month or 2 opportunities a month, I'm probably going to give them both proposals. I'm not going to weed them out because it's just $500 a month. But eventually these numbers matter a little bit more when you get down the funnel. But why we're looking at this is this will take time and we want to really concentrate on that. So I've done some math here to quickly figure out that, right, if I need to make 21 phone calls a day and about 5 to 10 minutes a phone call, that's going to be about 6 hours of my week. 30 minutes for each meeting, and I got to do 5 of them a week, right? That's about 2.5 hours. Then we've got opportunities. Those could be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. That's another couple hours. And last but not least, proposals. When I give it to them, I don't want to just send it to them. I want to show them everything they're getting for that $500 a month and what the engagement would look like. So when I pack that all in, that's almost 10 hours a week that I have to do just to net my 1 client per month. And I got to do this every single day, every single week. That's a lot. Now, to ensure we stay disciplined on all of this, schedule blocking is going to be the #1 tool you can implement to ensure you stay on target and accountable. And some time to walk around local business parks because cold calling gets exhausting once in a while and I just want to see people. So what's important is to stay mobile. And here's what this will look like if we were to put this all into a calendar of what you need to do as a business owner and what I would do if I was starting a new MSP in 2024. And you're going to see a lot of color. So what this does simply is what your day looks like every single day at your MSP as you grow your business month over month. So as you can see, we would spend quite a bit of time ensuring we keep our current clients top of mind first and foremost, right? That first step we take when we quit our job is when we find that first client, which means at 8 a.m., right? Very first thing in the morning, I am going to have to, let me get a better pen. I am going to have to make sure I am calling them. And the best way to make sure your day doesn't get disrupted, call them before they call you. So I'm going to call them at 8:30 every single morning and just say, hey, got anything I can work on? I'm going to be annoying because that's going to just let them say, hey, they're getting a lot for their money, but I'm doing it just to make sure that I don't have to talk to them when it's inconvenient. It's pretty simple when you only have a few clients, and we all know that most of the times they're going to tell us no. So keep those white gloves on, have a few phone numbers of different people in each of your clients' offices so you can change up who you call each day. This would ensure no, hey, you free moments when I'm beating down doors trying to find those next clients. I would also ensure that this would serve as blocks in Outlook, so if a client ever did agree to meeting me, I would have the ability to meet them and not make them wait more than a day or 2. I don't have to sit there and hope that someone calls me on the help desk and I don't want to piss a client off. So each day I'm able to kick off with building out who I will call, where I will knock on doors, and any sales material gathering that I need to do to be prepared to land a client. That's why you're seeing every morning from 7 to 7:30, I'm just building out what my day looks like. From here, I would knock out my help desk needs with my client, and then I'm gonna start right away hitting the phones, start dialing for dollars. Later in the morning, I would hop in my car to find a local business park to just start walking into office, right? When you see these door pulls, I'm just gonna go, right? There's a lot of business parks in San Diego that might have 15, 20 businesses. So where does it hurt to just walk in, say hi, get a couple names, get them logged into my CRM and walk into the next one. Then I'm gonna have first time appointments, right? That's what these blue ones are. This is gonna be for those clients that finally do ask, hey, let's meet in person. Let's hop on a Zoom call, a Teams call. These are gonna be super important. And I wanna keep them around lunchtime because that's typically when you're gonna see them want to meet. And beyond that, right, these are those windows I was talking about to where you can ensure every single day you've got time to meet with them. Now, one thing you may notice is these orange blocks, these ops projects as I've named them. Now, these are there so that I have ample time for a few other things, right? This is like new client onboarding. This is any client projects I can squeeze in that's not going to be too disruptive. Field calls, right? Where I do need to go to the client site and say, hey, let me look at behind the computer that the cleaning lady accidentally disconnected. And lastly, business maturity projects. For those business maturity ones, I put some examples of ones that I would work on in my first year. So if we zoom out, you can see the very first month, I'm going to work on a CRM project. Mainly being that I'm making a lot of calls, I'm writing down a lot of scripts, I'm getting details about potential new customers, right? How many users for one? So I need to start logging that into a system. And luckily there's tools out there like HubSpot that are free up to a certain size. And I'm not gonna fill that in the first year. So it's gonna be worth my time. Month 2, I might work on onboardings. Simply, I'm gonna be onboarding 12 clients this year. So I better have a process that is gonna bring them on board that's going to allow me to service them. And this just shows how the critical nature of managing your time becomes as you grow in scale as an owner. Hell or high water, you have to meet your sales goals to prove you have a business. The last thing you want to do is barely scrape by in the first year when you're investing all the time that you've set yourself up for a similar miserable year 2. You don't want that. So set yourself up on the right foot so that you can work towards a year 2 plan that brings in enough MRR to bring in the local resources. So by year 2, you can completely remove yourself from help desk and projects. This plan would also guarantee me a year 2 where I could focus on improving the packaging, case studies, and lists to start getting into higher revenue accounts, netting more revenue and profit per year. But in year 1, I just want to focus on behaviors, proof of concept, and MVP. Now, as you look, I've kind of massaged this, and it's never going to be perfect when you do this. You're going to have to move some things around, but I just want you to keep in mind that you are going to need to keep this as a very consistent schedule. It's okay to move it a day or 2, but don't move it drastically for the entire week, for the entire month, because you are going to have to do things in ebb and flow. As you can see, when we get to months like April, there's a lot more red squares because we're on that cusp of having to bring on that tier 1 person from another country or another service. So when those moments happen, I've got to be there for customers. So that also means you have got less time to make phone calls, less time to pull on doors. And this is where I was trying to say that there's a good chance that you're going to have a couple opportunities to close more than one client in a month if you stay on this target. I know that I would be able to do it. That's why I put this in my plan for an MSP I would start in 2024. Because those months where I am a little overextended on the ops side, right, doing a lot of tickets, helping the clients quite a bit, onboarding a bunch of them, I can then start to move into those places. That's also, though, where you're seeing things like documentation, RMM, knowledge base, revising the PSA, right, going back to it, standardization in these subsequent months and projects, and why I'm dedicating an hour a day to some of these things. Now, my chart's getting a little crazy, so I'm going to clean this back up, but this is how I'm going to start structuring my time as a new MSP business owner. And as you also that I've put in here, I am going to know roughly how much time I am spending on each task every month so I can see how they drop. And the number one thing that I need to focus on, right, going into year 2, I can see that over time, by the end of the year, I'm only spending roughly 20 hours a month on help desk. And that is a massive win. That means in the next year, you're going to see a lot more business development. You're going to see a lot more people management, so that every extra dollar now doesn't need to go into freeing up your time. It goes into growing time for customers, adding inventory to your portfolio. And beyond that, that is when you then can start increasing your take home as an owner to put more money into your pocket, so you're not living in top ramen also in year 2. All right, guys, that about does it. And I know this has been a long journey, but this is exactly how I would start an MSP in 2024. I would capture market share, I would avoid competition, and I would build a team that set me up to have time to conquer year 2 as a dedicated CEO and business development rep. And if I had to guess, year 2, I would try to add $250,000 to $300,000 in ARR, doubling the amount I did in year 1 through either 1, higher valued contracts, or 2, more contracts to start building an ROI for the year 1 time that I invested. But that's for another video. Let me know in the comments if you want to see how year 2 would pan out in this model. So I hope you guys are all having a great first month of the year, and I hope to all see you at the events this year. Please just reach out, hit me up, text message me. I think even my text phone number is in my LinkedIn profile, and I would love to meet all of you and help you on your own journey. But as always, guys, stay accountable.